The enigma of Kim, a legacy forged in power, Kim Jong-un. The name alone evokes a sense of mystery and intrigue, a figure who has captured the world's attention yet remains an enigma. As the current supreme leader of North Korea, he holds the fate of a nation in his hands. His every decision ripples through the lives of millions, a nation shrouded in secrecy, a nation often misunderstood. North Korea is a land of contrasts, where the past and present collide in a complex tapestry. Kim Jong-un's story is not his alone. It is a continuation of a powerful lineage. It's deeply intertwined with the legacy of his father, Kim Jong-il, and his grandfather, Kim Il-sung, the founder of North Korea. Their influence is indelible, shaping the nation's identity. This family dynasty has ruled the country with an iron fist for decades. Their control is absolute, their authority unquestioned. Kim Jong-un inherited a country shaped by his predecessors, a nation molded by their vision and their iron will, a country where power is absolute, where loyalty is paramount. The fabric of society is woven with threads of allegiance to the supreme leader, and where dissent is met with swift and brutal consequences. The price of disloyalty is high, often paid in blood. Understanding Kim Jong-un means understanding the weight of this legacy, the burden of leadership in a nation that demands unwavering strength. It means delving into the history of a nation built on a foundation of isolation, self-reliance, and an unwavering belief in its own narrative. A narrative that has been carefully crafted and fiercely protected. Kim Jong-un is more than just a leader, he is a symbol, a representation of the nation's ideals and aspirations. He is seen as a divine figure by his people, a living deity whose presence is felt in every corner of the country. His image is everywhere, watching over them, from towering murals and statues. His word is law, his power is absolute. The omnipresence of his image reinforces his authority and the cult of personality that surrounds him. But behind the facade of unwavering strength lies a complex and enigmatic figure. A man whose true nature is hidden behind layers of propaganda and secrecy. A man who has navigated a treacherous path to power. His rise was marked by intrigue, consolidation of power, and the elimination of rivals. To truly grasp the enigma of Kim Jong-un, we must journey beyond the headlines. We must look past the surface and delve into the depths of his rule. We must peel back the layers of propaganda and secrecy. Only then can we begin to see the true picture of his leadership. We must explore the man behind the myth, the human being behind the carefully constructed image. Only then can we begin to understand the complexities of his rule and the impact it has on the world stage. His decisions reverberate far beyond the borders of North Korea, influencing global politics and international relations.
Behind the curtain. A glimpse into Kim's early life. Kim Jong-un's early life remains shrouded in secrecy, a veil that has only been partially lifted over the years. The exact date of his birth is a matter of speculation, believed to be sometime in the early 1980s. Some sources suggest it could be 1982 or 1983, but the North Korean regime has never confirmed this. Unlike his father, who was groomed for leadership from a young age, Kim Jong-un spent his formative years away from the public eye. This deliberate concealment was part of a broader strategy to protect him from potential threats and to keep his identity a mystery. He was whisked away to Switzerland to attend a private boarding school near Bern. This decision was likely influenced by the desire to provide him with a Western education and to expose him to different cultures and ideas. There, under a pseudonym, he got a taste of the Western world. His time in Switzerland was marked by a blend of anonymity and privilege, allowing him to experience life as an ordinary student while still being under the watchful eye of his guardians. He learned to speak German and English, reportedly developed a love for basketball, and was exposed to a vastly different way of life than the one he was destined to inherit. His interest in basketball, particularly the NBA, is well documented, and he even idolized players like Michael Jordan. Despite the relative normalcy of his Swiss education, Kim Jong-un's true identity and family background remained a closely guarded secret. His classmates and teachers were unaware of his lineage, knowing him only as a quiet, reserved student. His classmates knew him as a quiet, unassuming boy with a passion for basketball and American culture. He was described as polite and somewhat introverted, often keeping to himself but showing enthusiasm on the basketball court. Little did they know that their classmate would one day rule a nation with an iron fist. The contrast between his demeanor in school and his future role as a dictator is stark and almost unimaginable. The details of Kim Jong-un's time in Switzerland are scarce. Much of what is known comes from anecdotal accounts and sparse documentation, leaving many aspects of his early life open to speculation and intrigue. What glimpses we do have paint a picture of a young man caught between two worlds. On one hand, he experienced the freedoms and luxuries of a Western education. On the other, he was bound by the expectations and responsibilities of his North Korean heritage. The world of his privileged upbringing in Europe and the world of his family's totalitarian regime in North Korea. This duality likely influenced his perspective on governance and power, blending Western influences with the rigid doctrines of his homeland. These formative years would undoubtedly shape his worldview and influence his path to becoming the supreme leader of North Korea. The experiences and lessons he absorbed during this period would play a crucial role in his approach to leadership and his vision for the future of his country. Upon his return to North Korea, Kim Jong-un was thrust into the political arena, where he had to quickly adapt to the demands of his new role. The transition from a relatively carefree student life in Switzerland to the intense scrutiny and pressure of North Korean politics was undoubtedly challenging. His rise to power was swift and calculated, marked by a series of strategic moves to consolidate his position and eliminate potential rivals. The skills and knowledge he gained during his time abroad would serve him well as he navigated the complex landscape of North Korean politics. Kim Jong-un's leadership style reflects a blend of his Western education and the authoritarian principles of his family's regime. His ability to balance these influences has been a defining feature of his rule, shaping the policies and direction of North Korea under his leadership.
Ascending the throne, the rise of a supreme leader. Kim Jong-un's rise to power was swift and unexpected. His father's death in 2011 left a void at the helm of the world's most isolated nation. Many speculated about who would succeed Kim Jong-il. Some believed it would be one of his elder sons. Others thought the military might seize control. However, Kim Jong-il had a different plan. He had chosen his youngest son, the seemingly inexperienced Kim Jong-un, as his successor. Kim Jong-un, barely in his late 20s at the time, was thrust onto the world stage. He inherited the mantle of supreme leader, assuming control of a country facing crippling economic sanctions and a tense relationship with the international community. Despite his youth and lack of experience, Kim Jong-un moved quickly to consolidate his power. He purged potential rivals from the government and military. He strengthened his grip on the Workers' Party of Korea, the ruling party of North Korea, and he cultivated an image of himself as a strong and decisive leader, much like his grandfather, Kim Il-sung. Kim Jong-un's early years in power were marked by a series of bold and often provocative actions. He ramped up North Korea's nuclear and missile programs, defying international sanctions and drawing condemnation from the West. He tightened his grip on the country's already strict social controls, further isolating North Korea from the outside world. The Iron Fist, Kim's leadership and its impact on North Korea. Kim Jong-un's leadership style is a complex mix of his father's ruthlessness and his grandfather's charisma. He has managed to blend these traits to create a unique form of governance that is both feared and revered by his people. He has shown himself to be a ruthless dictator, unafraid to eliminate anyone he perceives as a threat to his power. This includes high-ranking officials, military leaders, and even family members who have fallen out of favor. He has also demonstrated a shrewd understanding of propaganda and image-making, carefully crafting a public persona designed to inspire loyalty and obedience. Through state-controlled media, he projects an image of strength and benevolence, despite the harsh realities faced by his people. Under Kim Jong-un's rule, North Korea has experienced a period of relative stability. This stability, however, is maintained through strict control over every aspect of life in the country. However, this stability has come at a high cost. The regime's focus on maintaining power has led to widespread poverty and hardship for the majority of North Koreans. Kim Jong-un has maintained his grip on power through fear and repression. The state's security apparatus is omnipresent, ensuring that any hint of dissent is swiftly and brutally dealt with. He has silenced dissent and crushed any opposition to his rule. Political prisons are filled with those who dared to speak out, and public executions serve as a grim reminder of the consequences of defiance. The country's economy, though showing signs of improvement, remains heavily sanctioned and isolated. International sanctions have crippled many sectors, making it difficult for the country to engage in global trade. Ordinary North Koreans continue to face severe hardship and poverty, while the elite live in relative luxury. The disparity between the ruling class and the general population is stark and growing. Kim Jong-un's focus on military strength has come at the expense of the well-being of his people. Resources that could be used to improve living conditions are instead funneled into the military. He has poured vast resources into developing nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles, even as many of his citizens struggle to feed themselves. This pursuit of military might has further isolated North Korea on the international stage. Kim Jong-un's leadership has had a profound impact on North Korea, shaping it into the country it is today. His policies and actions have left an indelible mark on the nation's social, economic, and political landscape. He has maintained his family's grip on power, but at what cost? The human toll of his regime's policies is immense, with countless lives affected by the state's oppressive measures. The answer to that question lies in the hearts and minds of the North Korean people, hidden from the world behind a curtain of secrecy and fear. Their stories, often untold, paint a picture of a nation struggling under the weight of its leadership. Yet, amidst the darkness, there are glimpses of hope. Stories of defectors who have escaped the regime's clutches and found freedom serve as a testament to the resilience and courage of the North Korean people. International efforts to provide humanitarian aid continue, despite the challenges posed by the regime's isolationist policies. These efforts aim to alleviate some of the suffering and bring a glimmer of hope to those in need. The future of North Korea remains uncertain. While Kim Jong-un's grip on power appears unshakable, the desire for change among the people and the international community's efforts to support them may one day lead to a brighter future.